Good afternoon, everybody. So welcome to the next session on the booming era of live OTT broadcasting, hosted by our gold sponsor, Limelight Networks. I have the pleasure to welcome Jonathan from Al Jazeera Media Network, Jonathan Powell, from Turkcell, representing by Baris Zavaroglu, and finally, Charlie Kraus from Limelight Networks. Charlie, over to you.
Okay, hi, good day, everyone. So quickly about Limelight Networks, we're one of the, in the top tier of what we call content delivery networks. What we built is really around delivering video, both live and on demand for very, very large OTT services, linear broadcasting, etc. We're a global network with POPs in all the major areas around the world, something like 130 POPs total. And besides video, always website traffic, things like that, downloads for games. For myself, I have a long background in data networking and video distribution going over decades. So I'll be both sort of a moderator and panelist on this. So hopefully this will be useful to you and enjoy this. Jonathan?
Sorry, yeah, my name is Jonathan Powell. I'm with Al Jazeera Media Network. I am based in the digital division here in Doha, Qatar. And over the last sort of 6 or 7 years with the digital division, I've been responsible for the launch of a number of websites, a number of series, and a number of products. Currently, I'm focused on launching Al Jazeera's next generation OTT platform, which I'll be talking about today.
Very good. Baris?
Hi, my name is Baris. I'm currently working for TV Plus. TV Plus is the leading connected set-top box IPTV and OTT platform in Turkey. We have two route to market models. The first one is with set-top box and penetrating in the households throughout Turkey. And the second one is 100% direct-to-consumer OTT business.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay. So why don't we start off first with talking about some of the challenges in region in this industry, either for OTT or for telecom. What are some of the major things you're focused on dealing with as we head into 2022? Do you want to start, Baris?
Yes, I mean I can say there are several challenges. I think the first one I can say that is the attitude to pay for an OTT service for the consumers. Okay, I think this is one of the biggest challenges in this region. Okay, and we are currently teaching the consumer that you have to pay in order to watch premium content with the premium quality and premium product experience. Okay, this is the first one. The second one is definitely piracy. Okay, piracy is a big trouble in the region. Okay, I'm sure in Middle East as well. So for that reason, as a even governmental level, we have to find a solution to control the piracy. And the third one is, in the country like us, okay, in the region, there are two main competitors. The first one is global ones, okay, and second one is the local ones. Okay, so in order to compete with the global ones, so you have to really spend a lot, and you have to find much more genius methods and ways to compete with them. Okay, because we don't have such a huge budget to compete with the global players.
Right. Okay. So Jonathan, I know you're just in the early stages of this, but just so far in your journey, what are some of the issues you can see are potentially coming up for you?
Yeah, so maybe I'll go into sort of where we are, where Al Jazeera is currently with their OTT presence,
Sure.
and then discuss kind of where we're looking to go with a more robust next generation OTT opportunity. And from that, I think you'll get a sense of the different challenges that we're beginning to face. So currently, we have Arabic, English, and Balkans languages on our OTT platforms. The content type, as you might expect from Al Jazeera, is news and current affairs. So that includes the live stream, which I think is really the core of our content offering on OTT currently. But we also supplement that with some VOD news packages and some current affairs programming, which is all sort of excerpted from the live stream. And in the Arabic market, our main source of distribution for OTT is via smart TVs, so Samsung and LG. But with our non-Arabic content, we're on Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV as well. The main platform, though, where you can find us that qualifies as an OTT presence is YouTube. So right now, across our various services, we have about 20 million subs on YouTube, and they generate about 200 million views a month for us. And I think, I can highlight maybe a different challenge that we're facing is specifically with YouTube and the way they are treating political content. And, we obviously currently, our strongest vertical is politics, and we've grown a very large YouTube presence, but it's becoming more difficult to deal with their algorithm as we continue trying to expand. And I think this is one of the key reasons why we're moving into looking at more of a proprietary OTT presence where we can consolidate all of our language and content on one OTT platform. Currently, we're very fragmented by language and by device, and so this is a big opportunity for us to consolidate. I mean, sort of echoing what Barris was saying, there is an issue obviously with the various business models that are floating around, and I think for Al Jazeera, it's challenging because our main editorial mission is to be the voice of the voiceless, and so we focus on kind of these underreported human-centric stories that you don't really find in the mainstream media. And this kind of content focus is not really a good underpinning for a sustainable commercial strategy. So until now, our KPIs, our sort of success factors have been reach and influence rather than profitability or revenue. I mean, profitability is probably a little bit further down the road for us.
Mhm.
And so, and we need to somehow still serve this audience. I mean, this in the Arab world, particularly, which is sort of our core audience, the means to pay for content, as Barris noted, is fairly limited in many countries in the region. And so we have to find ways of providing that premium content in a way that can still be sustainable. And we also do not want to alienate this audience. I mean, they've been with us for 25 years. And so as we move on to OTT, we don't want to sort of leave them behind.
Right. So I'm going to play off of that a little bit. So one of the areas that, because I get a worldwide perspective because I manage all our video from a marketing perspective. And one of the things is starting with the basics, especially if you're starting out. As Barris mentioned, you have a lot of different devices. You have people with smart TVs, but also streaming devices. So, and the variety of devices viewers watch on is always increasing. There's probably a lot of mobile around the world. When I do surveys every year, and in most countries, mobile's becoming one of the top ways people consume, especially short video, like news feeds, things like that, as opposed to movies. But you need some way to detect what device they have and put it in the right format. And there's a lot of those out there. So there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of platforms to do that. One of the things that CDNs do, all of us, is have that device detection, the transcoding and the encoding. So you can just basically feed a single format in, and we know what the device is, and we can put it in the right format going out. You want to look for in your region, the POPs and the capacity they have, because the capacity is huge around the world, but not necessarily every single region. So a lot of the strategy for picking your partners for delivery is how much capacity, how many viewers in different countries or cities, and is enough capacity there. Some people use multiple CDNs as a strategy to reach that goal. And that's a lot that's part of it. Another thing I've seen lately on the content side is worldwide is for so long people depended on getting Netflix, Hulu, the people that produce their own content, or the TV networks, and they decide everybody realized everybody can't license the same kind of content, TV series and movies and so forth, and differentiate themselves. In the early days that worked, but now there's literally hundreds of streaming services out there, and they realize that they all can't have sort of the same content. So local content is becoming one of the real big ways to differentiate. That's truly exclusive to you if you do anything local. So I think what you're talking about is staying true to your long-term audience is probably a lot of local type content that you produce that only you have, that your competitors won't. Will be probably one of the keys to doing that. So for each of you, are you thinking of a mix of like advertising based or subscription, or some mix, like a hybrid right now?
For Jazeera?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, historically, our focus has really been on ensuring our content is as widely accessible as possible for our audience. So there is going to be a portion of our content which will have to be frictionless with no barriers to entry. And that would be sort of that historic legacy content that's on linear live streams. So AJA, AJE, AJB would still be fully available on various connected TV devices and probably YouTube without any subscriptions. But what OTT is allowing us to do is to begin to pursue a more sustainable business model, which I think hasn't been a part of our historical kind of trajectory, if you will. And so the flexibility of these platforms enable us to pursue both of these objectives, kind of maintain that reach KPI and sort of still serve that audience, while also creating a second tier of premium content, which could potentially generate additional revenue. In fact, it would have to generate additional revenue. This would have to be sustained through a subscription model. So it is a hybrid then. It's really AVOD applied to our core traditional content with a premium tier that would be SVOD. And I think,
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Barish? What are you doing now, and what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, our platform is 100% subscription-based business, which is full SVOD. And we thought about AVOD to divide the platform in terms of the content, AVOD plus premium. But indeed, yes, you can catch much more traffic with AVOD, definitely. But the value of advertising and the revenue that you will get on AVOD side will not justify the total business. So for that reason, we decided to go ahead only with SVOD subscription-based platform.
Okay. So let me talk about a couple of things that I'm seeing around the world, two areas around the monetization. So for those that have subscription-based models, we're seeing experimenting with what I call microtransactions. So it applies pretty much in any type of content, but it first started with some of the sports-focused OTTs. So where they may offer subscriptions to a certain league for, it could be a cricket league or European football, things like that. But many of the viewers may not want to watch everything in every game. So what they do is they offer options where you can have a limited number of games that you watch, but when they have what they call key moment alerts. So you can say when certain teams are playing or certain players that I want to follow, when they have a key moment, or let's say a match is in the final minutes and it's tied, it's heading towards extra minutes. And the most exciting thing, of course, is like a penalty kickoff to decide the winner. And what happened is they get a key alert about that would have a link in it. And let's say they're on their mobile device, they get the link and they click on it, and they can either see a quick replay of a key moment that just happened, or just join the stream late. But instead of paying for the whole game, they pay this microtransaction to just watch these few minutes. And they're experimenting with that. Now on the news side, it's almost the similar things. Late breaking, events during the day, just something happens. And when people are out and about working and so forth, they're not aware of events going on, until they get home and see the news at night. But any kind of a key event, the same idea is you get an alert that something's happened and a quick link and you can go in and watch it. They're experimenting with, one, is the technology working well right now? What is sort of the amount of payment that's reasonable? So they have to be sensitive to budgets. But there's several major networks. So usually they're broadcast networks, also with OTT, and they're just experimenting in different regions with different pricing models for this to see kind of what sticks. But it's very encouraging from some of the early results I hear about on sessions like this to do that. Another is, let me talk about the piracy issue here. So at first we thought it's just because people don't want to pay. They just want to have it, free. And there could be good financial reasons for that, but we found that that's not the pervasive reason for piracy. We find that in some areas, the subscriptions are so strict that they don't have that flexibility for somebody to say, well, I really only watch a few of the games, not all of them. And so they said, well, it's sort of all or nothing. Or they don't want to watch mobile. So it's like in some countries where cricket is really big, they found out that just due to the complication of the rights management, they weren't allowed to send out streams for smart TVs, only for mobile devices. And people that are really very big sports fans that I have a giant TV. I want to watch sports on a big TV. And so there was no option but to go to a piracy stream to do that. So we found sometimes the piracy can be caused by just not offering viewers a way to watch the way they want to watch. And a lot of times the rights management is the complication that causes that. So it's just something to think about, that it's not as simple as people just want it for free. If you have flexibility where they can get more options to watch the way they want, that's helpful.
One point on the micro transactions as it pertains to breaking news, obviously on our linear live streams, the major viewership comes during breaking news events. Bigger the event, the bigger the viewership. And that's something which we will always make available to our audience as widely as possible. So we're not, I can't imagine us ever attaching, any kind of transaction to our audience obtaining that service. But we actually think the value that we can sort of get from that is that it will drive potentially new audience to the platform. And our job then is to figure out, once they're on the platform and they are, consuming the breaking news, move them around to other content which may be of interest. It's really, considered a loss leader or a marketing opportunity to show the breadth of the content on the platform. And that's kind of how we want to deal with it. I don't think we could, it would just be it's so deeply critical to our overall mission to make it available. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. So, but that goes to sort of the engagement issue. What I'm seeing also is they're finding that you have to always keep innovating in the way you give as an experience to the viewers. Better engage them any different way you can. Because again, how do you differentiate? So people are playing around with some of the new technologies like very low latency delivery. One of the problems that people have had with online for a long time is the latency is quite different. If any live event, if somebody is watching the broadcast latency around the world is typically about 5 seconds. But lit online, it's typically been 30 seconds, even up to a minute, or sometimes even more. And there's technical reasons for that in the way you have to transmit video over an IP network that is beyond the scope of this. But recently, there's been new technology for solving this problem by the way the protocols work in small, we call small chunk streaming. So today, on a and it's very scalable globally. You have a way to do basically 5-second latency for online live video at global scale, and therefore now you're matching the broadcast. So things like multi-screen viewing. You get people that are sort of watching together, maybe chatting online, but now people online are exactly seeing what the broadcast viewers are watching. It's because it's the same latency. And that low latency is allowing them to do some interactivity, like doing things like polling questions or allowing a little bit of chat, because that kind of latency, within limits, but you can have viewers even chat with each other. I've seen for sports what they call watch together apps. So people that don't live close want to watch something together, watch a movie together or something. So they have like a little community, and they offer this app, and they go on the app, and everybody now sees the movie or sees the sports match at the same time, and they can chat with each other about it as if they were, all together in the same room. And those are becoming popular, and that's all enabled by this scalable 5-second latency technology. So something to keep in mind. I know us and all our CDN competitors are offering this now across all protocols, so that's good. So live content is perishable, right? So a lot of people, I always think most of it gets recorded for repurposing again. So Barry, do you do a strategy of like anything that's live, you're also recording with a view to possibly repurpose in the future?
Indeed, all our contents are premium. Okay, we have, global contents, local contents, and original production contents. So usually we are using YouTube and other platforms just for the advertising and communication purpose, or just to give a small taste to the audience in order to watch the whole episode in our platform. So, we are not sharing the content, indeed, and we don't have this, by the way, this permission. And our main objective is to promote it and to attract the audience and subscribers to watch in TV Plus, in our platform, with our experience. That is the strategy indeed.
Okay. So that is one of the services that a lot of the networks provide, is anything that, like, we have an offer, anything we're transmitting live for people, we also at the same time record it. So most content delivery networks also have a lot of storage in them.
Yes.
So any streams that are coming through the network can be recorded at the same time. And and it'll be in memory, and then it's available as a video on demand type form.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then download. So that's pretty popular. This supplements.
Yeah, downloadable content already exists, especially for the mobile devices. Now, what we have, and it exists, and also what we have on the linear channels, the subscribers can record some programs on the linear channels and switch it to a VOD, like a catch-up. Okay, and it's also available in our platform.
Yeah. Okay. So Jonathan, are you thinking of that as well in your planning about finding ways to just everything live is also recorded?
I think that the issue with news particularly is that it, even I think there's value to the archive, obviously, and sort of the news gathering footage that's coming from the field. And that's something which we've tried to make available through various websites over the years, and it has value, probably on a B2B basis. In terms of us recording it, I think the way we're seeing it is we have the stream, and then we supplement it with the relevant news packages that give the context, give the detail, give the story, flesh it out, and maybe something that provides more value to the audience. We would produce explainers as well that could be refreshed as the story moves over time. But I think for us to just sort of put it out there raw without re-editing, repurposing, updating, I don't know that there'll be necessarily as much value as there would be in something like sports or in other fields. You want, as a news network, you want to be fairly current. You know, we're not really moving into history at this point. You know,
right. Yeah, it has a very short shelf life.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
even
24 hours, 12 hours now in some cases.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, even in reality.
Our challenge is to stay on top of the story, leverage what we've put in the archive or what we've put in the bank or what's available, and keep it, you know, repurpose it, refresh it, and keep, you know, giving as much of the updated, you know, information as we can, while still ensuring that if people want more context, more background, or a deeper understanding, you know, that's still available to them. But that still would be repurposing the content. I don't think it's just going to be raw live stream.
Yeah. It has a very short shelf life.
Yeah.
Which you know, people on the other side know about. So whenever this particular issue or scandals or something, they always know that, you know, if you can survive 24 hours, you know, there's always something else that pulls people interest.
I mean, we're discussing sort of how to tailor our nightly newscast for an OTT presence where you're basically publishing at 11 p.m., you know, GMT +3, and then you're going to have to find ways to update it. We can't go into ways of sort of reproducing it every hour on the hour, but we have to find ways of updating the packaged content and update around the edges to make sure that it's relevant the next morning when people are getting out of bed, and relevant throughout the day until the next broadcast. So it's a modular kind of approach, but it's what we have to do.
Okay, I'm going to switch topics a little bit here. One of the things that's happened during the pandemic is a move towards more cloud-based production. So especially on the broadcast side, you know, there's been a reluctance in terms of, like, especially production side, to move away from the legacy sort of workflows to do this, to go to cloud-based. There's, you know, there's a lot of reasons for it. It's just what people are used to, or, you know, fear of the unknown. But there was a slow movement to this. So I think this is probably going to happen anyhow, but the pandemic kind of accelerated this, because now it's not everything happening in Bollywood or Hollywood. It's people are now remotely doing editing, you know, all the different steps of having people scattered around, and they can't have all this legacy equipment with them. So that has really accelerated in many parts of the world to all these cloud-based services, which also use, some of it's the same vendors of the legacy equipment, but offer cloud-based versions of it. So I've read where some production and film companies are saying, you know what, I can't imagine we'll ever go back to legacy again. This has worked out so well. So Baris, are you doing more things in cloud-based services right now, or will be doing it?
I mean, indeed, our platform is cloud-based mostly, all the VODs and linear channels. I mean that, for example, if you want to record any content, okay, or if you want to put any content in your set-top box, it is all cloud-based. Okay, it's already in the cloud. Okay, we never keep the memory in the set-top box for set-top box. It's cloud. Okay, and we started that one. Thanks to this one, we give much more memories and much more advantage to the subscribers. This is how it works. In the OTT side, OTT is indeed purely cloud. I mean, if you want to save any VOD, or if you want to, even record any programs on linear channels. It is already in the cloud. Only downloadable content only takes in your device memory. Okay.
Yeah, Jonathan, as you're in your early stage still, is cloud-based part of your thinking, or are you going to do more, traditional legacy in-house?
Well, in terms of the actual distribution of the OTT platform, yeah, it would all be via cloud. We're going to look for sort of a turnkey solution that would include the development, the hosting, elements of the content management, and that would all happen with our provider, and they're cloud-based. So yes, on the production side, yeah, I mean, certainly cloud is a big part of it now. The offices we're global to begin with, so an element of our production has always been cloud-based, at least over the last few years. And then with COVID, yeah, people were out of the office, and so it was very normal for production and collaboration to happen via the cloud. I suspect that will continue. I don't know for sure, but I suspect that would continue. We've also moved a lot of our production, or parts of our series and programs production to Turkey, in fact. And so, so as we sort of move more production out of Doha that's series related, that would facilitate more production over the cloud as well.
Right. Yeah, we're certainly seeing that everywhere in the world. And, again, some of the people are seeing benefits they didn't expect or think about early on. And because of the remote issue now, that means they have a lot more flexibility in hiring talent, because they don't have to think about, I have to have people that are here in Hollywood, if you're in the US to do this, they could be anywhere in the world. So they tap into the, the best available talent, no matter where that is.
And being based in Doha, it's very expensive to produce here.
Yes.
And under COVID, with COVID restrictions, moving people in and out of, I guess, any country, but certainly here was really complicated. And so, yeah, I mean, as I said, as we move production to Turkey, it's certainly the budgets start to come down, and it's a huge benefit for sure.
Yeah. I mean, our company's become totally remote now. Right now, we have no plans to ever go back to the office except for the network operations center. The NOC has to be staffed, but other than that, and we find that we have people in every place in the world. Top engineers. You don't know where you're going to find them, but now it's not an issue. If you can find them, it doesn't matter where they are, and they're really all over the place. And it's been worked out very well for us. We've been more productive than before, just because no commuting time. So it's really been great. One of the things I want to talk about is partnerships in this. So certainly we sort of think of our content delivery network as one of the earlier cloud-based services, because it's always been a sort of a cloud for distributing network for the last even 10 years. It's we're all global and we have POPs all over the place, but you think of it as sort of a cloud. You input things in, and then the distribution comes out. These are just monstrous egress machines to just putting out all the videos to everywhere. And so what we find is the best way to work with all the OTT providers is we think of it as a partnership. Things like live are more tricky to keep right than on demand. There's a lot of forgiveness in on demand in terms of, if it takes a minute or two for videos to start, it's okay. But what live is flying without a net. If anything goes wrong, all your viewers see it right away. So we find that any of our customers that do a lot of live always work with some of our service people to say, we're going to, especially a big sports event, World Cup soccer, World Cup football, nothing can go wrong. So a lot of testing ahead of time, redundancy. We try to work with them about anything that could possibly go wrong and mitigate that. Do testing weeks before the event in all the region. How does the video delivery look in every part of the world we're going to deliver to? How many audience members are you going to have in these different cities? so we can make sure there's enough capacity there. One of the things, we have all our networks are fiber networks, and so we can basically increase demand, get more wavelengths of light, increase capacities and move it around depending on the needs. And then always watching during events. Analytics are a big deal. While you're setting up any analytics you can get from, the audience is great. We call it like beaconing devices. So some services ask their audience if they don't mind having beaconing devices, especially if they're using a mobile app, sending out information about the quality of the video so that if problems come about in the network operating center, they can see this about to happen before something really appears to the audience. They often can mitigate this. So we find that you can't do too much testing ahead of time, and just make sure that the live delivery is good. So we think of these things as a partnership. It's not it's not all about just us, what we do, and our customers and what they do. It's always work together. Quarterly meetings. What are you planning for 2022? We want to be ahead of that. What do you want to do? What can we do to help you? So it's really good to form a partnership relationship with the ecosystem you're going to deliver with. So I'm seeing from Shanna the 10-minute warning here. So let's just turn to some perspectives as we sort of wrap up. So one of the things I was going to ask is, as we're hopefully coming out of COVID for the sort of the second time, do you find that, Baris, that it's been an accelerator for OTT adoption in the region? Are you seeing more people streaming? Do you have evidence about whether this is going to continue even as we, head into next year and come out of this?
Yes, definitely. COVID helped a lot us, especially for all the OTT players. Because entertainment, was outside of the households, but now entertainment came into households. So people try to find out, any entertainment platforms, and they tried. And for that reason, that was a huge opportunity for all of us. Mm-hmm. And at the end of these days, if, the consumer really liked to be a part of your, subscribers, then definitely, you will get benefit of it. This is what I see. And definitely, if you look at all our traffics and number of subscribers, compared to the other years, previous years, there was a huge growth rate. Also traffic, not only subscribers, also the audience, really, they spent much more hours in the platforms. They tried to discover much more contents. They spent huge time, okay, because they were at home, indeed. Okay, so if they like the look of the platform, if they like the content strategy, if they like the experience, definitely, they will stay in your platform.
Okay. Jonathan, you have the same evidence on your side?
Yeah, I think we don't have an OTT product, the new sort of next generation product out there. But so it makes it a little bit difficult for me to comment on OTT per se, but I would say across the region, what we've seen here in the Arabic world with the subscription rates skyrocketing on competitive services, it really forced us to rethink what we were doing and did accelerate our OTT plans. Probably pre-COVID, we might been content, launching, one OTT platform with all the languages that was really news and current affairs focused and didn't extend beyond that, and was an AVOD value proposition, an AVOD business model. But I think with what's happened with COVID and, there's services here that now have 2 million subscribers, we've had to rethink what we're going to do. And that's what's brought us sort of thinking about subscription content. I can say anecdotally on series that I've worked with that are digitally native series on YouTube channels, we saw, season to season 4x increase in viewership on some of the series. during sort of peak COVID, and it was incredible for us. Yeah, I mean, from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, budgets here have all gone. I would say like the cost of entry for someone like Al Jazeera now to really step full board into the OTT marketplace has gone up a lot because of what's happened in the market. So that's, I think, how we see it, how it's impacting us on the OTT project. You know, what we thought was going to be a simple, a more simple entry with a kind of a content strategy that was tinkered with, but not, you know, changed too much from what we've done historically, has now had to be fully revamped.
Yeah. Okay. So one last topic is content search. So again, from recent surveys, a continuous consumer frustration is searching for content. It's the problem of what I call the walled garden. So let's say you have Netflix and you look and you want to watch and try to find a movie, and you start searching, and of course the search tools are very frustrating. It's usually a block of letters that you have to cursor around to spell things out and try to find things. And then if you don't find anything, you say, well, I'm not finding anything here, and I have to go to another service and look. And what seems to be missing, or you know, it's not like going back decades when there was only a few TV channels and you had TV guides and it was easy. Now, there's no universal really guide to say, if I want to watch a particular type of content, that some service that could sort of peer over the wall of the walled gardens and present you with content from any of these channels in the area you're looking at. You have to almost manually start doing that. It's definitely an unsolved problem. And you know, it's a very difficult technical challenge, but you know, it's there, and I don't, you know, I'm still waiting to see that some breakthrough on how to do that. And I'm sure there's all sorts of business issues that, you know, that cause this. People want to keep people in their walled garden. They don't want to make it easy for them to move around.
Yes, I mean, can I jump? I mean, just to say,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there are plenty of contents in the platforms. I can say easily more than most probably 10,000 easily in any platform. This is the average, even more, 20,000, 25,000. Okay. And if you don't have the right content creation, that is very, very important, by the way. If you don't have a personalization content strategy, and moreover, I mean, your AI and recommendation engine really doesn't work, I mean, geniusly, there is a huge problem. Because then, I mean, you buy for a lot of contents and it's a huge investment, and then you hide them. I mean, it is not logical. So for that reason, really, I mean, creation, recommendation engine, and AI, and showing content according to the subscribers' taste and flavors. I mean, it is very, very critical.
Yeah.
And moreover, your metadata as well. You have to make it very, very clear and quite sophisticated in order to show all the possible different contents.
Right. Yeah. Good. So I guess we got the 2-minute warning here. So just final sentence for 2022. If there was like, you could pick one issue that you just see, a single issue that you really want to solve next year, what would it be? Go ahead, Baris.
In terms of what you are asking?
Just next year, one particular technical issue or whatever that you'd like to solve in 2022.
I think the most important thing is to manage the traffic challenge. I mean, it is very, very critical. Okay. And CDN is very important, but expensive. So for that, as you mentioned, to have a partnership with different telco, for example, or ISPs is very important in order to decrease your cost on traffic and at the same time increase the quality.
Okay. Jonathan, Got just got
Well,
30
I can reflect on sort of what we spend a lot of time talking about as one of the challenges is basically dealing with moving our linear audience onto OTT.
right.
We have a linear audience, been with us for 25 years, very committed to the brand and the content. And we need to find, we want to start moving them on to kind of this next generation OTT platform. We don't want them to feel like we're abandoning them. We want to make sure that they're, we're still giving them the content that they want, but we want to be able to better serve them on an OTT platform and migrate them over. And I think in the Arab region, it's still, a challenge. It'll be a challenge for us.
Okay, so we're out of time. So I want to thank you guys so much for this very interesting panel. So for the audience, I hope this is useful to you, and any opportunity to, do something again in the future, we'd look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.